18. Isra. My mother died when I was 4, 13 years ago. The words flow easily from my mouth. This night feels like a dream. Too much has happened for it to be anything else, and the consequences of this confession seem distant, unreal. I could have had another 17 years. I could have another 10. The advisors could come for me tomorrow if they believe the city to be in danger. How long have you known? Jem asks, a stricken expression on his face. Forever. I brush my hair wearily from my forehead. I can't remember a time when I didn't. It was never a secret. I always knew that if my father didn't remarry and give the city another queen... Why didn't he remarry? Jem demands, his anger hot and immediate. He was doing what he thought best for me, I say, more exhausted with every word. As future queen, I was protected. I don't think my mutation is severe enough to send me to the banished camps. But my words end in a yip of surprise as Jem snatches my hand and half drags me across the room towards the mirror on the wall. Instinctively, I dig my heels into the carpet. I'm not ready, not like this. No, I say, squirming my fingers, panic making my voice high and tight. I'm not ready. You need to see yourself, he says. You need to see the truth. I shake my head and throw my weight backwards, fighting harder to free myself from his grip. In a minute, wait, He drops my hand, only to scoop me up in his arms. Stop, please, I beg, shoving at his chest. When he stops in front of the mirror, I squeeze my eyes shut and turn away. Look at yourself, he demands. Look! I press my face against his shoulder, inhaling the smell of the desert and Jem on his shirt, hating that he can still smell good to me even when he's dirty, and bullying me like everyone else in my life. You're no better than Beau, I say, through gritted teeth. I'm only trying to help. Shh! I stab at his chest with the tip of one finger. You'll scare Needle. She's mute, not deaf. If she comes in here and finds us like this, she'll bring the bed pot down on your head. It's copper. It will hurt. I peek at him through slitted eyes. Even someone with a skull as thick as yours. You're one to talk, he says. You're the most stubborn person I've ever met. Stupidly stubborn. Then put me down and go away, I say, voice breaking. If I'm so stupid, I don't want to go away. I want to help, he says in a softer voice. Please let me. His arms gentle around me, no longer holding me prisoner, just holding, waiting. This doesn't help, I say, relaxing in spite of myself. Not like this. He presses a kiss to my forehead. I should have told you before, he whispers, making my skin tingle. I wish we'd never stopped kissing. I wish Jem would give up on saving me and give me something to remember when my life is out of possibilities. I would have, if I'd have known. I swear I would have. Told me what? I let my fingers play around the scales at the back of his neck, mesmerized by their smoothness. He looks down, catching my eyes, the emotion in his making my heart beat faster. I would have told you that you're beautiful. My stomach flutters, and my chest gets warm and tight. I fist my hands and hold his gaze, and breathe, determined to bind this moment tight inside me and never let go. He means it. I'm beautiful to him. To Jem, who is beautiful to me. Does it really matter what anyone else thinks? You're beautiful, he says again, kissing my eyebrow. It's a strange place for a kiss, but nice, an offering meant to comfort me, taking nothing for itself. And you know it. You said so yourself. My brow furrows. I never said that. You did, he says. That girl in the painting isn't a goddess. She's a queen. His meaning hits, and my lungs forget how to draw breath. That's cruel, I choke out, pushing at his chest. This time he lets me go, dropping my feet to the ground and spinning me to the mirror. So quickly, I don't have time to avert my eyes. I catch a glimpse, and a glimpse is enough for the glass to take me prisoner. My lips part. The girl in the mirror's lips part too, and any lingering doubt vanishes in a dizzy wave. That's me. That is what I look like. The shoulders that burst the seams of every dress are the perfect size in my mother's shirt. My slender throat flutters delicately as I breathe. My face is not a perfect oval or a moon, but its angles aren't hideous. There is elegance in my sharp chin and strong jaw, and my nose isn't shy about being a nose. It pokes proudly from the center of my face, ending in a tip shaped like a square, as if I ran into a wall with it and the skin never popped back into place. It's large and might be distracting if it weren't balanced out by my eyes. Enormous, unflinching eyes, as green as summer grass, fringed with dark lashes, blinking beneath brows a bit too wild. My hair is even wilder, curling and coiling, and running amok above my forehead and down my back, creeping wiry fingers over my shoulders, gluing stray tendrils to the damp cheeks. But it's lovely too, in its untamed way. But there's still the other, the part I keep hidden. I was careful not to look too closely in the bath, but now I lift my hand and pull my sleeve, revealing the peeling skin beneath the green fabric. There, where I thought scales lurked below the surface, is simply dry, red human skin, peeling and flaking and messy, but not hideous. Sickly looking, but not unnatural. Damaged, but not tainted. I am not. There may be some way to treat it, Jem says carefully, as if he senses how fragile I've become. It might be irritated by something you're eating or washing with, a certain oil, or... He trails away. I don't say anything. I don't know what to say. This is my body, sickly but not tainted. This is my face. This is my face. The face of the girl in the painting. I remember sitting for a portrait on my 16th birthday, but I was never told what happened to it. Now I know. I am the girl in the painting. That beautiful girl. I don't look like the other women whose faces I've felt. The proportions and structure and shape are completely different. But there's nothing monstrous or ugly about me. I know it. Bo knows it. Junji knows it. My father knew it. My father knew it. My heartbeat slows. My lips go numb. My throat cramps and my ribs petrify. I feel the air in the room turn against me, pushing into me from all sides, threatening to turn my bones to dust. Never, in my wildest dreams, would I have imagined that finding out I've been wrong would feel like this. That I would want to pull my beautiful face off the wall and hurl the mirror to the floor, stomp on the pieces until my feet bleed, scream until I lose my voice. That I would wish with every fiber of my being to go back to the way life was before, when I believed myself ugly, when the world and my place in it were perfectly clear. But I do. I wish. But I can't go back, not ever. I watch the girl's face, my face, crumple in the reflection. I see the way her upper lip pulls up, and the way the cords in her slender throat stand out garishly from her skin, and her large nose turns red as she begins to cry, and I'm momentarily comforted. I can be ugly, after all. I can be as wretched looking as I feel. Jem turns me gently and pulls me into his arms. I fist my hands against his chest, bury my face between them, and sob as if the world had come to an end. I'm sorry, he mumbles into my hair. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I shake my head. my forehead rubbing against the stiff cotton of his shirt. But I can't talk. I don't blame Jem. It wouldn't have mattered if he'd have told me. I wouldn't have believed him. I was certain I knew the truth, that I knew it all, at least when it came to who and why and what of Isra. But I knew nothing. Nothing. I am worse than the emperor without clothes. I am the biggest fool in the world. You were right, I say, forcing out the words. I am stupid. You're not. You are ignorant, and you didn't stay that way on your own. He's right. I didn't become this fool alone. Baba made me this way. My father hid me away in this tower, and provided me with a mute maid incapable of telling me about myself. By the time Needle and I learned to communicate, I was older and unwavering in my beliefs, the reality of my world so set firmly in my mind that Needle's compliments ticked through my fingers and out both ears. She was a servant. She was obligated to flatter me. I never imagined. I couldn't have imagined. If I, for 1 second, had thought I was nearly as whole as any other citizen of Yuan, then I would have known there was no excuse for any of it, no excuse for keeping me prisoner, or for not, at the very least, allowing visitors aside from the rare music tutor, sworn to silence about her time in the tower. If my father had been worried only about my safety, he could have brought friends, girls my age, to play with me when I was younger, to gossip and make music when I was older. I didn't have to be alone. I didn't have to grow up feeling like a disgraceful secret. But I did. No matter how much time Father spent with me, no matter how many times we laughed together, or sang together, or how many times he said he loved me, I always believed he was ashamed of the tainted girl who was all that remained of his family. But I'm not tainted. I'm not. And as Jem said, there might be some way to treat my skin if I asked the healers for help. But Father never called the healers, even when it became obvious that Needle's honey's baths and creams weren't making me better. But I didn't imagine it was possible to get better, not until Jem came to the city. I don't understand, I say, fist tightening until my nails sting my palms. Why did my father do this? Why did he keep me here? Away from almost everyone. Why did he let me think? I don't know. I shake my head again, struggling to breathe, past the rage burning white hot inside me. I'm devastated and hurt and betrayed, but most of all, I'm furious. I want to hit something, someone. I want to bloody them, him. A sense memory rises from somewhere deep inside me. My hands clawed, my nails torn, and blood, some mine, some not, hot and sticky on my fingertips. The memory has the cold, silent terror of my earliest memories, of those days when I was newly blind. But somehow I know it's older. It's something I've forgotten, until now. Until suddenly it's all right to remember flying at my father in range and raking my fingers down his face. But why was I so angry? Did I know that what he was doing, holding my mother and me captive, was wrong? Did I try to fight back, only to give up and give in and forget? To trick myself into believing a story that made it okay to love the only person I had left? If he'd remarried, then that woman would have been the offering, Jem asks. I sniff and lift my head slowly. It feels heavier than ever, and it weighs more than all the rocks in the desert. And if they had children, one of them would be the next queen. I would have been safe. The crown would have been reverted back to me only if they had no heirs. I would have had, at the very least, more time. More life. Jem curses beneath his breath as he tucks the hair stuck to my cheeks back into the mess from which they came. The loveliness. I am a lovely mess now. That should matter, I think, but it doesn't. I know I shouldn't wish for someone else's death, I say, sounding broken. And I don't, not really. I just wish that your father had wished for it, Jem finishes, proving once again that he is clever and human and privy to at least some of the secrets in my heart. I smooth the wrinkles from his shirt, trace the damp circles with my fingers where my tears wet the fabric. I wish he'd told me it wasn't easy to decide I would die for my city. He never said anything. I shake my head. And he knew what I assumed about myself. I told him. He's the only one I talk to. Until you. I look up, wishing Jem were the only one I had ever told. Jem's eyes narrow, and for a moment I see the terrifying creature I encountered that first night in the garden. I know he would rip my father open right now if the other Monstrous hadn't done the job for him already. He's the monster you should have been protected from, Jem says. Tears fill my eyes again, but I refuse to let them fall. He was my father, I say, voice lurching as I try to regain control. He was all I had. He taught me everything I know. I take a deep breath that comes out a terrifying little laugh. I don't know that laugh. I don't know myself. Who am I now? I ask. I don't know that girl in the mirror. I don't know how to be her. I don't know how to think her thoughts or... Jem lays his hand on my cheek so gently I can barely feel his touch. You are Isra, and now you'll be the person you would have been without the lies. His lies, or mine. His eyes swim with regret. If Jem hadn't told me it was impossible for desert people to produce tears, I'd think he was about to cry. I don't blame you. I put my hand over his, pressing his warm palm closer to my cheek. I think only good things about you, except when you're making me angry, or being bossy. You're very bossy. You have to stop this, he says, his expression grimmer than ever, refusing to let me tease us out of this terrible moment. You shouldn't have given your life. No one should. My hands fall to my side. This has been the way things are, the way things have always been, I say, acutely aware of how exhausted I am. I'm a rag that's been wrung out, leaving only a few drops of me left behind. This is dark magic, Jem says. Blood is bad enough, but death, one death to preserve thousands of lives. Without that one death, the crops would fail, the dome would fall, and the city would crumble, I say, crossing to the bench at the foot of my bed and collapsing gratefully onto its cushioned seats. Every man, woman, and child living here would die. I run my fingers over the needlepoint flowers embroidered on the fabric beneath me. Roses. Fitting. I can't let that happen, I whisper. I will remain queen, and when the time comes, I will do what queens have always done. Your mother didn't, Jem says, the heat in his tone making me look up to find him pacing on the thick carpet in front of Needle's bed. Yes, she did. If she burned in this tower, then how did... She didn't burn, I say, my stomach lurching. I've known the truth for a long time, but it sits differently now that I know it wasn't only my mother who wished me dead, but my father too. Jem stops pacing and turns to me. But you said, she set the fire, but she didn't burn.